So we just came back from Elefsina. We just went to pick up my daughter Melina. She's been staying with Yaya and Papu for the last few days.
Yes, Papu.
I'm forever blessed that the relationship that I have with my in-laws is really, really good. It has always been great. Of course, we have had our ups and downs when it comes down to relationship with the in-laws, especially living here in Greece, right? Because there is such a thing as, the in-laws and the parents being involved always in the relationship. Like, you should do this with your kids, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this, right? So my wife has certainly gotten her fair share of that, and I have seen that firsthand over the years. This is perfectly normal, right? But I've been blessed that both my daughters have, amazing grandparents, and their yaya is just, a classic yaya that will just take care of them, I know that not everybody has this, okay? Even if their yaya is still around, I know that some of them, they do not stay with their grandkids, right? Like, just to take care of them, not even for a day. I mean, I know this for a fact because I know a few families here that either their grandparents are not around anymore, meaning that they have passed away, and those who are still alive, they do not provide any help, okay, when it comes down to the upbringing of their grandkids. And by the way, this is something that is very normal here in Greece. It's kind of like normalized to get a lot of help from the grandparents. All right, we certainly have had that over the years, especially when we used to live in Elefsina. And it was one of the things that changed quite a lot once we relocated here to Nafplio, because here we have no family members in Nafplio. So the way it works for us now is that every now and then, whenever there's a holiday or there's a celebration of some sort, we drive to Elefsina and we eat all together.
Για να το παιδιά. Ταρέα μουσακά είναι.
We really enjoy this quality time. My in-laws enjoy as well this short period of time with their granddaughters and with us as well, right? Because we live far away. It's a healthy distance, right? So because before we used to live, all of us, in the same city, in Elefsina. That's where my wife is from, and we were just, within walking distance of each other. And yes, everybody is in everybody else's business as a family, as you do, right? Anybody can just go to the house and just knock the door and say "Anixe," right? We got a lot of that. At one point, I believe my mother-in-law had the keys of the house. This is in the beginning when we just relocated from the UK here to Greece, and it was just like, what's up, right? This is normal here in Greece, and in fact, a lot of families live in the same house, or they have built a house above or below or whatever for their children. So you will have, mom and dad living in the house, right? And then the couple that got married with kids and everything, and they will live above or below. And this is very common here in Greece. So, but this has a positive and negatives. But for me and for my wife, that we have been very independent since we met. We have always been living alone and all of this. It has been a real challenge for us to have family, which is something that is very important to us, and at the same time have a healthy distance with the in-laws, okay? And again, remember, I live in Greece, so my mom is not around. My dad is not around here in Greece, obviously. So I have to juggle family life from my wife's side, pretty much. I have had to set up certain boundaries, obviously, in the beginning and over the years, but this is something that I'm forever grateful. I have an excellent relationship with both my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. It's a lot of respect to me. They're like my parents, right? And I've known them for years now, right? Many, many years. We've been through a lot of dark times together, especially when we moved here to Greece. My father-in-law had a terrible accident. Terrible accident that, And we've been together through all of that, tough times. And I believe that having two wonderful in-laws and have good relationships with them is not only good for me and for my wife, because you want to get along, but at the same time for the kids as well, right? So it's not easy. It's not always easy to have good relationships with other family members. Hey, it's really not easy to be married, you know? It's extremely hard to have a good relationship with your spouse. If you've been married long enough, you will know this to be true. It takes a lot of hard work, right? So that is very challenging. So having a relationship with your in-laws, you know, a healthy relationship with your in-laws is another, you know, another challenge, really. And that's why they make movies and comedies about this, right? Because everybody can relate to this type of relationships and interaction, because at the end of the day, it's all about family. It's all about having good relationships with family, right? And it's all about love, care. And not only for us as a couple, and not only for my in-laws, but for the kids, right? And if there's no love in the house, there's no love in the home, the kids can perceive that. And there's nothing worse than having unhappy couples, having a very terrible relationship with in-laws and uncles, and you know, it's very hard. But family is something that is very, very hard to find a good balance. And I believe that since we moved here to Nashville as well, because we have a healthy distance, we're just like an hour and a half away from where they live, you know, it has been something that has taken this relationship to the next level as well. Not only for me and for my wife, you know, we can still be very close to them, but far away enough to create that distance and that feeling like, hey, I miss you, I haven't seen you for a couple of months, right? And whenever there is a big celebration like Easter or holiday celebration or whatnot, you know, it's always great to just drive to Elefsina with the girls. You know, it's a nice drive from here, from Nashville to Elefsina. We just go and see Yaya and Papu. We have a drink. I have a drink usually with my in-law, with my father-in-law before lunch. He always makes a mesedaki and we drink something before lunch. My mother-in-law is a great cook as well. So she cooks amazing food. So on that front, I'm pretty well taken care of. And every time we go there to pick up the kids or to drop the kids, there's always an opportunity for us to just get together and, you know, have a good time, just eat and enjoy ourselves. Again, I don't take this for granted because I know a lot of people do not have this, all right? I know not everybody can just drop their kids with Yaya and Papu and then go and have a week off, you know, with your spouse. And me and my wife were blessed for that. We do not take this for one bit granted. Every single time we come back to Nashville, and you know, we have friends and they say like, where are the kids? Oh, they're in Elefsina with Yaya and Papu. And they all have kids, obviously. We're friends with people that have other kids, right? And they're always like very jealous, like, oh my God, how did you manage to pull that off? So I know that I am in a very privileged position, to say the least. Yes, I have proved myself over the years. I've had to do that, right? Don't think that I have just arrived and that was it. You know, I have done many, many things over the years in order to say like, you see, I might not be a Greek boy, but here I am, right? In fact, in one of my videos, I actually shared this with you on a previous videos, that back in the day when I got married, before I got married to my wife, to Dimitra, I actually wrote in a piece of paper, well, a Greek friend of mine wrote in a piece of paper, something in Greek that I should say that to my father-in-law. I pretty much just asked for her hand. And I actually still have that paper up to this day. Actually, I share that with you. Something that my friend wrote in Greek and said like, whenever you go to Greece, right before you get married, you should, you know, ask the hand to your father-in-law and say, you know, you're gonna make her very happy and all of this. And I was just terrified. I was just literally shitting myself. But I still have that piece of paper up into this day, and I actually memorized that, and I was kind of like reading it on the side like that, and I did say that to my father-in-law. He was not very impressed, obviously. He just nodded his head like, yeah. Right? My mother-in-law was in the other room, actually. I think she was doing the ironing or something, or she was cooking. I don't remember what she was doing, but she actually overheard me talking because I was in the balcony with my father-in-law having a cigarette. Back then I used to smoke, and I said like, okay, I have nothing in common with my father-in-law apart from smoking a cigarette. So that was a perfect opportunity for me to just say this to him. And you know, my mother-in-law overheard me talking in my broken Greek, trying to say like, I'm gonna make your daughter happy or whatever, I promise, and all of this. And you know, it's terrifying at the time, but I've done my things over the years in order to prove that I am, you know, a good boy for their daughter.